Hi, thank you for clicking on the video, and I hope everyone is doing really well. In the video that I just put out, I mentioned that I came across some other articles about weight and about health and all that fun stuff, and I want to talk about it in that video, but that video got way too long because I went on a fat positive rant. So I'm filming a second video just to kind of focus more on this article. Eating disorder sufferers told they are not thin enough when they seek help. This really struck a personal nerve with me because I remember when I first gained weight back and people were like, oh, so you're well now, and it was like, no, I gained weight, but you don't know how that has killed me on the inside. And I think a lot of people think that, first of all, eating disorders are, when we say eating disorder, we just mean anorexia. I'm pretty sure that's what most people think. Less people actually have anorexia than we think. When they make documentaries and movies and stuff like that about eating disorders, it's always anorexia. But actually more people suffer from bulimia than anorexia. But how often do you see any eating disorder movies about bulimia? Very, very rarely. It's always anorexia. And just because less people suffer from anorexia doesn't mean it's not important. It's just I'm pointing that out because people think that when you are anorexic and then you are sickly skinny and then you start to gain weight, that magically you are cured. And that's not the case. I think a lot of people, when they go from extreme restrictions in their diet life to gaining the weight back and looking healthy and being a healthy BMI, being a healthy weight, people don't focus on what that weight gain does to them mentally. And that's why they seek help at that point after gaining the weight, because they're still being ripped apart on the inside. And so when they go see a doctor and the doctor is like, but you're healthy, it's like, no, I look healthy, and your way of measuring health is just some numbers, and I'm not. And I might fit those criteria of health, but I'm dying on the inside. I want to die because of those numbers, and I'm scared. People are reaching out and want help, and the doctors are turning them away because according to their charts, you're fine. Basically, you're not sick enough for treatment. At the end of the day, eating disorders are not about weight. It's not about weight. It's so much deeper. And I say this all the time. The weight loss or the binging and purging or the OCD, counting, calculating, constantly calorie counting, weighing yourself. These are physical symptoms of a much deeper mental problem. There's something in our brain that is different, and these are the physical manifestations of that internal conflict within our brain. And that's something doctors can't look at you and see. It takes talking. It takes working it out, and you can't always work it out on your own in your head thinking about it. That's just going to drive you crazy. And so when you get turned away by medical professionals who are supposed to, they take an oath, they take a vow to help people, and they're not even doing that. I can see where if you were to go to a doctor and get turned away, you're like, I'm already embarrassed by this eating disorder that I have. I'm already embarrassed and ashamed of it. I'm ashamed that I've gained weight. I feel all these things. I don't know what I'm feeling. I'm doing these things that are so damaging to my body. I don't want to be doing them, but I'm doing them anyway because I feel driven and I feel like I have no other choice, and I'm scared, and I'm coming to a doctor, and the doctor looks at me and says, you're fine. And I'm like, I'm bearing my soul here and telling you I'm not fine, and you're still telling me I am fine. I leave. That breaks down the trust in to the medical industry, to the medical field. How am I supposed to trust another doctor? It's like, I hear people, they're like, well, just go see another doctor. But it's like, that one doctor has broken that trust of all doctors. How am I supposed to do it a second time? Go to another doctor, bare my soul again, and be afraid that I'm just going to get turned away once again? I can see how that conflict just builds within a person. and that fear grows within them. I think doctors and medical professionals, they need to take things more seriously. Just because a person looks okay doesn't mean they are okay. There's more to health than just physical health. My doctor, when I first was told I needed to gain weight, she gave me a 3-month deadline. She said that if I did not get to 100 pounds by the time I was going to move away to college, I was not going to move away to college. She was going to basically forcibly gonna have me committed to a treatment center. That is code for psych ward. I know who my doctor's office was partnered with, so I knew that I would be sent to a psych ward, and the minimum like stay is 6 months for an eating disorder, at least at the hospital that I live near. Teenagers who attempt suicide or are at risk of suicide, the minimum is 1 week. But the minimum for an eating disorder is 6 months, which I think it should be 6 months for everyone. So anyway, side note. So she told me you have basically 3 months to get to 100 pounds. And every week I had to go in and get weighed. And when there would be some weeks I'd gain half a pound in a week, and she'd be upset with me. She'd be mad at me, like, why didn't you gain more? Am I supposed to force feed myself constantly? Long story short, I made it to 100 pounds. And that was it. I never went to see the doctor again. Yeah, I was like 101 pounds, 101 pounds. And she was like, okay. I never went back to that doctor's office after that. She didn't need to see me anymore. I was cured. But I actually was more depressed and suicidal than ever. I was seeing a therapist, but that was about it. Like, my doctor was done with me because I reached 100 pounds. That was it. The number, that's all that mattered, was 100 pounds. Now you're healthy. And it's like, okay, well, I might go home and kill myself, but at least I'm healthy. In my video I just did was about fat acceptance. And it's like, we're putting too much stock on like the physical appearance. Like I've like had people be like, oh, you can look at a person and you can tell if they have an eating disorder. Well, it's like if you see a morbidly obese person, it's relatively obvious. And same with like extreme like thinness. It's kind of, you can tell the difference between naturally thin and eating disorder thin. Like there's some distinct qualities and like characteristics that separate the two. I mean, sometimes the line is blurred, but it's relatively obvious at some point. But you can't look at a person and know what's going on inside their head. That is for sure. And I will say that again. You can't tell a person's mental health by looking at them. And so it's up to them to express it. Never feel like you have to get sicker to be taken seriously, even though like there's proof that that's happening, that people aren't being taken seriously because they don't look the part. If you are someone who goes to the doctor and is told that you are healthy and fine because you look a certain way, and you know full well that is not the case, you keep fighting, you keep pushing it, you insist. Don't just give up, because you can't give up on yourself. If you want to be in recovery, and part of that is fighting every day. You fight the urge to starve yourself, you fight the urge to throw up, and you fight when doctors turn you away. You don't turn away until you get the answer you're looking for. When you know something is wrong, fight until they hear you. By doing that, you are truly dedicating your life to recovery, and that's incredible. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up, be sure to subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye!